Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. Whenever we begin, commence, start, etc., it's called acharanam. When we offer puja, which is a form of worship through rituals, we chant atha mangala acharana, which means I'm about to do, and the critical word is mangala, I'm about to do so that I don't feel I am the doer. That is an awesome form of doing, to letting go of doership. Meaningful Mornings is an opportunity, a forum, a community where we practice Mangala Acharana. We're all beginning our day, our month, and so on. Why? To nurture less doership. When our children are walking through a field or we're near a farm and so on, they can hear frogs. And they follow the sound of those frogs because they want to see the frog. Where is the sound coming from? Make sense? We do the same with frogs, crickets, etc. Deepening this to philosophy, we are all hearing, we are all listening to a Gita. Gita means song, poem, teaching. And if we follow the Gita, who will we see? Who will we be with? Bhagwan, the divine. This is what we've been doing for almost 500 mornings together, just on Bhagavad Gita. Our initial investment was on understanding ourselves. Many of us chant a prayer where one of the final parts is Ma vidvishavahai, which means, may we understand each other. But I can only understand you if I understand me first. And thus, the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita were on understanding Tvam, which means Prince Arjuna, which means yourself. With that more established, the next 6 chapters is on understanding Tat, that is Shri Krishna, or divinity. In chapter 7, verse 15, Shri Krishna uses the word dushkritina, those who are doing in a wrong way, wrong actions, wrong attitude, and so on. This is generalized as papa. Papa means sin, but most practically, papa is living in an extrovert way, where you keep living farther and farther and farther from divinity. And he compares this in verse 16, where the key word is sukritina, the one who's engaged in right living, right actions, right attitude. And so naturally, they are living for punya. Punya means the opposite of extrovert, introvert, or inward looking. They're moving closer and closer and closer to divinity, that they are divinity. Tvam tat asi. How does one make this shift from being an extrovert to being inward looking. This is shared in multiple ways, but in a focused way, by the shift from the words api to eva. Api means also. Eva means alone. If I live also for peace, that means I'm living for pleasure, possession, position, and also for peace. I will stay being stuck as one who's trying to create joy. Eva means alone. I am exclusively, intentionally, recklessly living for peace. In which case, there's a surrender of this notion that I can create joy. And so what happens? I rediscover I am joy. Tvam tat asi. Are we all together? We've missed each other for 18 days. So I have to keep asking, are we together? Zooming into verse 16 more. Sri Krishna shares that all are bhaktas. All are devoted to me, the creator consciousness, but the intensity differs. The lowest type of bhakta, lowest here means they have the least insight about the nature of joy. They still are trying to create it rather than be it. They're known as artha. Their devotion is to come out of adversity. Who did I give you an example of in terms of artha? Please share in the chat. More evolved than them is artha, arti. And good, the chat is correct. Artha, arti, the one whose wealth is wealth. Together it's called artharti. But opening this up, the one whose wealth is wealth, they're ones who are devoted for prosperity. Like possession, position. Who is the example? Please share in the chat. Correct. More evolved. They're less about creating joy and more about being joy is a jignasu. Some of you are named Jignasu. It's a lovely name. It is one who knows you cannot create joy. You can only be joy, and their efforts are towards that. It is those who know the futility of the path of Preya, the worldly path, and the utility of Shreya, the sacred path. I was interacting with a seeker in this community who had a child during meaningful mornings, as in this time period. And they named their daughter Shreya, which is so lovely, how connected this community is. The most evolved bhakta, perhaps it's wrong to even call them a bhakta, better is to call them Bhagwan, is the jnani. They're not trying to be joy, they are joy. For them, asi is reality. Who is the example of the jignasu? I shared with all of you? Good. Raja Janaka. And the jnani? Bhakta Prahlada. completing this verse because it's a pivotal verse. Everyone is a bhakta. The implication of this is not to judge others, to accept them, even better is to support them. Shared in a more visual sense, everyone is divine, but everyone reflects this divinity differently. Those who are less pure reflect this divinity less. Those who are more pure reflect this divinity more. Like, now it's summer, some of you will go to the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, the Indian Ocean, wherever you are. One of you is in Aruba right now, which is awesome that you're part of Meaningful Mornings, but how dare you without inviting me to go also? When you walk onto the beach, it's not the sand that hurts your eyes, it's the water, correct? Sand doesn't reflect the sun well, water reflects the sun a lot, correct? In this context, the water is the jnani, the sand is the artha. Okay? Tuning into the jnani, verse 17. Tesham jnani nitya yuktaha eka bhakti vishishyate priyo hi jnani no tyartham aham sacha mama priyaha. Tesham, of all of those who are bhaktas, those who are devoted, the jnani is nitya yuktaha, is the one who's ever integrated with me, that is consciousness, is the one who is consciousness. How did it happen? Because that's what we need to know. If this is the ends, what is the means for a person like Vivek? It starts off with feeling that Sri Krishna is the best. We all want the best for our kids. We all want the best food. We want to live in the best states. If I know Sri Krishna is the best, I will start to live for that, correct? Dedicating, sacrificing. That's a jignasu, but the evolution of this is to go from best to only. There is only Sri Krishna. Remember, we explored how Sri Krishna manifests as 8. The external world, the internal world. If there's only Sri Krishna, it is natural to live for Sri Krishna. And that's how one integrates with consciousness. Eka bhaktir vishishyate, what makes them special, excellent, that is vishishyate, is eka bhakti. They're devoted in one direction, they're devoted to oneness. I'm reading an insight from Pujya Swami Chinmayananda. The unbroken and all-out aspiration of the seeker to reach his own real nature, the self, is called single-pointed devotion. Eka bhakti. Does that describe you? You're all thinking right now, it's 8 o'clock, Vivekji, finish. We have also bhakti to our professions. We have bhakti to breakfast. Priyaha hi jnaninaha ati artham. For the jnani, their only wealth, what they love alone, is Sri Krishna. And whatever you love, you want to know more about. Agreed? If you don't love Bhagavad Gita, you wish that this ended with Dhritarashtra Uvacha, just the first verse, over. But if you love Bhagavad Gita, you will continue and continue. And after we finish, you will want to repeat. There's a lot that we love in our worldly lives. And whatever you do love, you know about clearly. We love our own names. We don't have to contemplate on our names. We know it. We love our bodies. We love our bank accounts, correct? You have to contemplate on which bank you use, which bank account you have, what's your password. That's how knowing will happen, is through loving. How will loving happen? By knowing more. Jnana and bhakti, they supplement each other. Final thought. This is amazing. Ahamsa cha mama priyaha. The way a jnani loves me, in the same way I love them. Shri Krishna is declaring who he loves. And this will come out a lot in chapter 12. Our aspiration should be to feel that divinity is irresistible, that I can't help but breathe and think for divinity. If this becomes our lifestyle and vision, divinity will feel that we are irresistible. In Srimad Bhagavatam, what is stated specifically is that a bhakta is able to tie Bhagwan in their heart with the cords of love. If you feel divinity is irresistible, divinity will feel you are irresistible. And this is all in the context of joy. If you are joyous, everyone will feel you are irresistible. So those wishing to get married, become happy. You will get many profile hits. Those wishing to help people, don't cry out of sorrow, cry out of joy. And you will be irresistible. From inspiration to application. Your recent application was to register for our Swatantra guide on living the Gita. Swatantra means independent. Independent means no excuses. Tonight, we begin the Swatantra guide on living the Gita. I will be facilitating the Mangala Acharana. Do register if you haven't. And your application for this morning is to be patient. Today is Patient Day. You reflect on that. I will share more about this tomorrow. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.